Hi, this is Dennis Gage. This week, my classic car is in South Bend, Indiana for the 33rd International Studebaker meet. You know, nothing stirs emotion like a homecoming, and this Studebaker homecoming is taking owners on a true sentimental journey. Much of the history is still here. The factory, proving grounds, dealership, and enthusiasm for the Studebaker. Welcome back to my classic car and the stupendous South Bend 97. Sorry, I couldn't help myself. I guess the Studebaker tradition and history just overwhelmed me. See, there's a 63 GT Hawk, a lot like this one, in the Gage collection. The story of Studebaker is a long and glorious one. The company was founded in 1852 as a wagon and buggy builder by brothers Henry and Clem, and turned to manufacturing automobiles in 1902. While the Studebaker name was always well respected, it wasn't enough to keep it afloat, and in 1966, the last Studebaker rolled off the line. It's always a special occasion when the Studebakers come home to South Bend, Indiana. This year, the homecoming is being held on the Notre Dame campus. What a beautiful setting for this impressive gathering of Studebakers from around the world. So Pat, this is the 33rd International here in the home of Studebaker, South Bend.
That's right, Dennis. The 33rd International Studebaker Drivers Club meet back home in South Bend, Indiana.
How often does it come back home?
Comes home periodically. It was here in 1988, was the last meet. It will be returning here to South Bend in the year 2002, which incidentally, Dennis, will be the 150th anniversary of the Studebaker Corporation.
Well, we'll be back for that one for sure.
Great. Well, we hope you are. We'll be looking forward to that.
Now, you're actually in the Indiana chapter.
Yes, we're a member of the Michiana chapter. That chapter serves the northern third of the state and then lower Michigan as well, yes.
And you guys are hosting this one.
We are the host chapter for this event, yes, sir.
How many cars do you have?
Well, Dennis, in the show today, and we've had beautiful weather, we've had over 500 vehicles out here, including a lot of the restored stock automobiles, the antique pre-war automobiles, and we even have some non-motorized vehicles, buggies and gentlemen's wagons, all the way up to some of the commercial truck types. We have hot rodders with us that like to hot rod Studebakers. We've got a lot of modified Studebakers here, even pro street Studebakers, if you could believe it.
And everybody's having a great time.
They're having a ball.
Now they're coming from far and wide, aren't they?
They're coming from almost every state in our continental United States, and we have a large contingent of foreign guests with us from Australia, New Zealand, Germany, Switzerland, South Africa, Brazil, Italy, Holland, Canada. It's just a phenomenal homecoming for our membership.
Well, that's marvelous. I know those New Zealanders and Aussies like their Studies.
We've had some New Zealanders, Dennis, that have actually shipped their vehicles to the States so that they could have the privilege of driving them here in South Bend.
That is fantastic.
Great.
Well, I tell you, Pat, this is just, you're right, it has been a fabulous day, a beautiful day, and a beautiful meet. I thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, Dennis. Glad you were here to join us.
Well, Bob, this is a very rare piece. This is a 31. Tell me about this car.
The car was built at the Studebaker Engineering Garage at the Proving Ground, and started it in the fall of 1930, and the car was completed in time for the 1931 Indianapolis race. It qualified and ran successfully till 167th lap when it was in second place, and unfortunately hit an oil slick and hit the wall, so they were out. But it proved to Studebaker that they had a very competitive product. So in 1932 they built 4 more, and they had a team of 5, and they were, although they never actually won the race, they were very successful. 7 of the first 12 finishing cars in 33 were Studebaker powered. All 5 of the factory team cars finished the race, which in itself is a very credible performance.
Now this car also did the Pikes Peak Hill Climb, is that right?
In 1931 it won the Pikes Peak Hill Climb and set a new record for the unlimited class.
What was it powered by?
It's powered by an 8-cylinder Studebaker. It's a 336 cubic inch, basically a stock engine with the exception of extra carburation and a little more elaborate racing exhaust manifold. Produced a little over 200 horsepower.
It was a lot for 31.
1931, that's right. It was
very
a lot
respectable.
of horsepower. Right.
Well, it does run.
Yes.
And you are willing to start it up?
Absolutely.
Well, let's do that. I'd love to hear a 31 Studi.
Okay, we'll do it.
Jerry, a 1950 bullet nose Studi convertible. I love it.
Thank you.
Now this is your baby, right?
Yes, this is my baby.
How long you had it?
Since 1980.
And it's a winner, right?
Yes.
What all's it won?
Well, it was here in 1983 and won second. In the National Meet in Estes Park, it won first, and it's been in other car shows and won first.
Now it's also had some tough times too, right?
Oh yes, in 1993 it went through a tornado. My house was destroyed while I was at the National Meet in Portland. So we made a quick trip home, and now here it is.
You brought it all back, and as the plate says, she's a twister resistor.
Yes.
Well, John, you and your dad have got a heck of a car here, a 1924 EL Touring Studi, right?
That's right.
Well, this thing was built for touring. How about if we do some touring around Notre Dame?
Let's do it.
All right. Well, you're right. It does have some Packard in it, doesn't it?
It does, and it does. A lot of people come up and say it looks, this is an old Packard or this is an old Buick. And then they look at the badge on the radiator. Oh my goodness.
It's a Studi. This map light is just amazing. Comes out.
The map light is cool. Now if you grab that switch to the right and just pull it out.
Pull it out.
It locks
that
the
locks
cord.
it. So it doesn't pull back on me.
Exactly. And then when you release the switch, you can retract it back in, which is a rather unique. But it is a touring car.
It is a touring car.
That was one of the features.
Welcome back to My Classic Car in South Bend 97, the ultimate homecoming for Studebaker owners. While we were already in northern Indiana, we thought we'd travel a couple hours up the road into Michigan to attend a muscle car drag racing event I think you'll find truly unique.
Hi, I'm Dan Jensen. I don't know how I got into this mess, but we're having fun.
For the past several years, Bob Bowden and Dan Jensen have been running an event called the Pure Stock Muscle Car Drag Race. And it's exactly what the name would suggest. Showroom stock muscle cars dragging side by side down the quarter mile at the Mid-Michigan Motorplex near Stanton, Michigan. The rules are strict, the cars are 99% stock, and the excuses are left at the starting line. The event is sponsored by Muscle Car Review and has been growing in popularity every year.
Pure Stock Muscle Car Drag Race is unique because it's the only venue dedicated to pure stock muscle cars. The cars are kept very close to stock. The only deviation is modern radial tires are allowed. There's some tuning that's allowed, rejetting the carburetors, working the advance. But the cars have to run stock camshafts, stock cylinder heads, stock carburetors, stock wheel size, stock transmission, closed exhaust, no headers.
I love the stock muscle car racing. I've done it a lot. I wouldn't do any other kind. I think it's a challenge seeing how fast you can get stock muscle cars to go, just by playing with the jetting and distributor and everything.
This is probably the first time I've been out in about 3 years, so it's a new experience. Had to get all the cobwebs out and make sure my reaction times are back down where they need to be, and get our tuning experience back where it needs to be. So.
Yeah, the guy that rebuilt the carburetor, this Bob Kuntz down in Missouri, he found out I got the original jetting in the thing. He had 68s in the front and 74s in the back, something like that. So hasn't detonated yet. I'm still running 92 octane gas. Are you kidding? Yeah. Keep my fingers crossed.
Now you don't have to have drag racing experience to run your car, but it helps. And running your car is what this tire-smoking, crowd-pleasing event is all about. Participants in this one-day event square off against cars in their own time bracket in a kind of round-robin affair. Once you hit the finish line, win or lose, you go back around and get in line to make another run. In fact, the entry fee is small, especially considering the amount of track time you receive.
Can't imagine the electricity in the air when these cars pull to the line and launch and grab gears, and you got another car that's really hot in the next lane, and you're trying to hold him off. It's tremendously exciting.
Really good reaction times, 587 versus 586. And we have a race here, folks.
The event attracts all sorts of cars and owners, many of whom have never driven their cars on a drag strip before. But all it takes is one trip through the timing lights to put a smile as wide as a 60 series tire on an owner's face.
Looked like you had a great run going there.
Oh, it's probably a low 14 or something like that.
I'd rather be racing it and having it sitting home in the garage where you have to walk out there and look and clean the mud and dust off from it.
I haven't been on a track in 35 years, so this is almost like brand new to me. It's been a fun time. I really enjoyed it.
And all 31, reaction time. If you have a muscle car and enjoy putting the pedal to the metal, then this is a must-attend event. With all the bragging, revving V8s and tire squealing, it's like standing on the corner of Woodward Avenue 30 years ago. It makes you want to climb into a piece of American iron and shut somebody down. As a matter of fact, don't be surprised if you see yours truly burning a little rubber here next year.
The thrill of drag racing is just seeing what an old muscle car can do and actually tuning on it and see if you can make it go faster. It's just a thrill when you hear that motor rev up and the tires squeal and smoke. It's a blast. You just got to do it.